save the outrage, because I've seen it in my own state, by members on your side of the aisle. Save the outrage. They've done it to me, and take your whining someplace else. I yield back.
Mr. Tiffany, what I would say to you, with all respect, I don't believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that a markup of this nature has been held in which you have been told, without even participating in that particular hearing, that lands in your congressional district would be conveyed or disposed of or protected. I suspect that that's the latter of which is what you'd object to, but nonetheless, putting that aside, I cannot point to a precedent. And I really, anyway, I'll stop there. Chairman, I'm disappointed. I really think that it would be incumbent upon this committee to give those three representatives an opportunity to weigh in. I cannot believe that you all would proceed on that basis, and that basically that's the new standard, but that's fine if that's the new standard. So, I'll yield.
Gentleman yields back.
I yield back to, I'm sorry, to the gentleman from Mexico.
Gentlewoman yields back. Ms. Stansberry, you're recognized.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is by definition the dark of night. It is 11:13 p.m. Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening, excuse me. My brain is mush after how many hours have we been here? 13 hours. And I want to point out that the chairman's print of the reconciliation bill is 96 pages. And we just had an amendment introduced at 11 p.m. tonight that is 33 pages long that sells off public lands in the state of Nevada. Now, first and foremost, supposedly this is a reconciliation package designed to actually address public spending. And Mr. Chairman, we have asked all day, we've debated countless amendments, over 100 amendments, asking for accommodations to make sure we don't impact tribal lands, we don't impact NEPA, and we were told over and over and over and over again, well, we can't entertain that because it's not germane to the budget. So I encourage you, if you plan to actually move this forward, that you read this 33 pages, because this is not germane. Now, secondly, Mr. Amodei, I do want to actually ask you a question, because I heard you say that the counties are supporting this, but I am being provided with information that actually one of the counties that you're trying to sell off lands here for in the dark of night actually voted today to oppose your bill. Do you know that, sir?
What I said was,
Sir,
it was
I
introduced
answered the
at their
question, yes or no.
request.
Do you
have
know
mischaracterized
that
my
one
testimony.
Do you
it was
know that
introduced
one of
at
the
their
counties,
request.
Mr. Amodei, do you know that one of the counties mentioned in this bill to sell off their lands voted today against your bill? Do you know that?
Yes, I do, in a 4-3 vote.
There you go. Mr. Amodei, do you also know that the Democratic members of Congress, Mr. Horsford, Representative Lee, and Representative Titus, also oppose your bill?
Yes.
Okay, so we have established that for the record. This is not germane. It is being dropped in the dark of night. The local entities in and around Las Vegas that would be impacted by this are opposed to it. It sells off public lands, and the members of Congress who are impacted by it oppose it. This is unacceptable. I'm sorry. To drop this at 11 o'clock at night, this is not fake outrage. This is disgusting. This is stupid. Mr. Chairman, you can't even entertain savings clauses to protect our tribes, and you're going to allow a 33-page amendment selling off public lands that local entities and the members of Congress oppose? You're going to allow that tonight? It's my understanding that you've already cleared this amendment. Is that true? There you have it, my friends. I yield back.
Yeah. Is there further discussion on the amendment? Mr. Huffman, you're recognized.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Well, we have been trying to draw out Republicans all day for the last 13 hours, get them to say a little more about this legislation. I didn't expect that when we finally heard from them, they would drop this huge land sale at the 11th hour, more than the 13th hour of a long markup in the dark. And I mean, this is how the worst sausage is made. How do we know that this is a reasonable and responsible transaction? How do we know if people close to members of Congress or this administration are in on the deal and there are conflicts of interest? Somebody might be in on a grift here. I mean, there's a lot of other special interest corruption in this legislation. We probably have some pretty good questions that we need to ask, but we can't do that because there's no hearing on this legislation. Normally, and the gentleman is right, we do exchanges and sales occasionally of public land, but always with a hearing, always with witnesses and testimony and the scrutiny and transparency of a deliberative process. This is just some truly odious sausage at 11:20 p.m. at the end of a long markup. And to do it over the opposition of one of the counties in whose jurisdiction this land is, over the opposition of other members of Congress who actually represent these areas. This doesn't pass the straight face test. Any member of Congress that votes for this is just surrendering any semblance of good process. The integrity of the legislative process is dead if you do this to what is already a dismal piece of legislation. And I'll yield the balance of my time to Congressman Min.
Thank you. I just had a few questions to the author, and I, like my colleagues, I am troubled by the way in which this took place. And I'll just note that we were given 5 minutes to read a 33-page ANS here. That is not enough time for us or staff to be able to read and process what's happening. Obviously, this happened very late at night. And obviously, this is not a good faith introduction. And we'll just note that. But I guess my question is this. It seems to me like your bill, at least on the Nevada side, targets Democratic districts. Does it affect any Republican-held districts? That's a question. Yes? Which ones? Which Republican members of Congress in Nevada are affected by your bill? Is your district affected? I thought you just said your district. Part of your district, okay. And what is the motivation of this bill? Because I don't think I heard you describe that. And we're learning all this on the fly. We just learned, for example, that the counties affected opposed your bill. I didn't know that. Is there other information? Like, what's the motivation of this bill? Is there other pertinent information we should be aware of as we entertain this? Again, that was the question. You're not going to answer. You're going to tell us why are you introducing this? What is the need for this to happen now? You're not going to tell us why you're introducing this? You're just going to sit there silently and not tell us why we should vote for your bill? All right, we've got it. Any information you want to tell us, or you're just going to pop a 33-page on us, just expect us to vote for it? I guess expect your Republican colleagues to vote for it. Was there information shared with your colleagues that was not shared with us about the motivation of this bill? No? All right, I yield back then, I guess. Interesting.
The gentleman yields back. I would like to correct the record. Mr. Huffman, when you asked me a question earlier, I had a bit of a blank stare on my face because those words sounded familiar, but they didn't sound like words that I had said. So I found your article here, and you misquoted me. The article actually says another Montana Republican, Representative Ryan Zinke, who served as Interior Secretary in Trump's first term, said he's told House leadership public land sales are a red line for him. I have made clear there are some things I won't do. He said, I will never bend on the Constitution, and I won't bend on selling our public lands.
The chairman is right. I was handed what I think was a misattribution. So I assume Mr. Zinke's now a no vote, at least, on this legislation. That's good. That's good, and I urge all of you to follow Mr. Zinke's good sensibilities and his good leadership. And yield back, and I apologize for the error, Mr. Chairman.
Is there further discussion on the amendment?
So can I ask you a question? What is the total acreage that you're asking for? I know this is pretty relative to that close against it. So you are very frank, you really sound like really frank.
It's about 10,000 total in several little parcels. They're all very small pieces. They're all very targeted for infrastructure needs that have been requested by local governments.
Thank you.
Gentleman yields back. Is there further discussion on the amendment?
I have a motion, Mr. Chairman. I would like to move that this measure under consideration be recommitted to the subcommittee on federal lands with an instruction that the subcommittee hold a hearing on this so that we can have a proper deliberative process.
Mr. Huffman, the bill was never in subcommittee, so it can't be recommitted to the subcommittee.
To commit.
I move to table the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no.
No.
The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Request a recorded vote.
Recorded vote has been requested. Clerk will set up the voting system. Have all members voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Have all members voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? The clerk will close the vote and report.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the yeas are 23 and the nays are 18.
The motion to table, the motion to commit passes. Is agreed to. Is there further discussion on the amendment?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Magaziner, you're recognized.
Yeah, I have a few questions for the sponsor, and Mr. Gosar's question to Ms. Malloy got me thinking. I'm curious for Nevada, if the sponsor can tell us how many acres are included in this proposal to sell off these lands in Nevada. How many acres of federal lands will we be selling off? And what's the approximate fair value of all that land? So there hasn't been an appraisal made, so the score is based on what? How are we to judge whether it is worthwhile to even sell off this land or not? So we don't know the value of it. Okay, so we don't know the value of it. And I'll give you another chance to answer Mr. Min's question. Why? Why are we doing this?
Could the gentleman turn his mic on so that the Senate parliamentarian can hear all this?
Yeah, so just to summarize, we don't know the value of this public land that the gentleman proposes to sell off. We don't have any real explanation for why it is in the public interest to sell it off. Are there maps available so that we can review and make an informed decision?
Yes.
How can we see them? How can we access those maps in advance of a vote?
They're attached to the bill.
I've got the bill in front of me. I don't see. Yeah. Right. So again, like if we had a hearing in front of the Public Lands Subcommittee, then perhaps we'd actually be able to see the maps, make informed decisions. I'm sure my Republican colleagues, constituents care about having them make informed decisions as well. And I have one final question. So we've established that the representatives from Clark County do not support this. We've established that at least one of the local boards of jurisdiction does not support this. This is all going to go over to the Senate. Do we know, have you asked the senators from Nevada if they support this? You have not asked them. So we don't know once it gets to the Senate. I assumed they oppose it, but I just wanted to check. So we don't know once this gets over to the Senate what's going to happen. It's likely that the senators oppose it. And so we may be voting to sell off public lands in the House that is going to go nowhere in the Senate anyway. So the senators oppose it. The representatives who represent the county oppose it. The county commission opposes it. There's been no hearing. We have no idea how much these lands are worth. We have not been provided any maps of them or being asked to vote at 11:30 at night on what seems to be a rushed slapdash plan. And I'll yield to the ranking member if you...
I thank the gentleman because I think another critical question is how do you know you're even going to get fair market value? Because this bill mandates the sale. It says shall, it's non-discretionary. But the gentleman has said, it'll be subject to NEPA. Elsewhere in this bill, they're creating a new pay-to-play NEPA pathway. So what is to prevent the buyer from writing that check for the concierge express lane NEPA deal under this new legislation where there will be no ability for anyone to challenge it in court? Let's say they just put a smiley face and $1 on a piece of paper, gets approved, that's their NEPA review. No one can challenge it. No one will be able to have judicial review. Or maybe the gentleman has put that into his bill. You exempted it from the new special pay-to-play NEPA review. I'm going to give the gentleman a chance to assure us that that could not happen with this bill. Not going to assure us.
Yeah.
That's very reassuring.
And again, this is the sort of thing that we could suss out and correct if we had a proper hearing and a proper markup on this.
Exactly.
But we're not being given that opportunity.
I thank the gentleman. Yield back.
All right. I'll yield back as well, Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. Is there further discussion on the amendment? There's no further discussion. The question is on the amendment offered by Mr. Amodei, designated Amodei number 13. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
We want a recorded vote.
A recorded vote has been requested. Further proceedings on this amendment will be postponed.
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.